What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out the latest and greatest robot vacuum from eufy. What we have here today is called the eufy Omni S2. Not only this is super powerful and super smart, but it also has a filtration system like no other. I'll tell you more about that in just a bit. Now, before we go any further, I also want to let you know that this video is sponsored by eufy and there will be some links and coupon codes available in the video's description so you can check out this robot vacuum here. Alright, so the eufy Omni S2 vacuums and mops, but it does the vacuuming and mopping a bit different than all the other robot vacuums available on the market. So first of all, let's talk about the mopping capabilities because this is definitely one of my favorite features about this robot vacuum here. So this is using what the manufacturer calls HydroJet 2.0 self-cleaning roller mop. So this massive roller mop that we have at the bottom of the vacuum here, this is also one of the longest roller mops available on any robot vacuum that I've seen. I believe this is 29 centimeters long. This roller mop also extends out of the robot's body so the robot can actually touch the edges of the walls, so you're not going to have that space that's never cleaned up that you find a lot of vacuums. So the roller mop here also extends and it also puts pressure onto the floor. That of course is important if you have like stains or any grease or anything like that on the floor. So with the roller mop system like this, every time the roller mop actually spins, it gets scraped and washed inside the robot vacuum. So all the dirt from the floor will end up inside the robot vacuum and eventually inside the base station. If you see that water, the dirty water tank from the base station, you're gonna be surprised by how much dirt you actually have throughout your house. So with the system like this, your floors will always be spotless. So it doesn't matter if you spill some coffee, some ketchup, or there is like dust on the floor, everything will be picked up and everything will eventually end up inside the base station. Another thing that I haven't seen from any other manufacturer, well, I've seen this from eufy before with the eufy S1 Pro, is the ability of the Omni station to create electrolyzed water. What does that mean? It means that 99.9% of the bacteria in that water will be killed. So every time this goes and fills up with water, basically water that washes the mop as the vacuum mops your floor, will be electrolyzed water, so no bacteria in that water basically. Next we are moving on to vacuuming performance because of course this is after all a robot vacuum, so the vacuuming performance is also quite important. So this is using what the manufacturer calls AeroTurbo fade-free suction. So basically we have 30,000 Pascal of suction, we have 100 air watts suction power and 365 days of fade-free suction. So the way the dustbin is designed for the eufy Omni S2 here is very different than your typical robot vacuum. So with the typical robot vacuum, you do notice that after about a week, maybe 2 weeks, the suction power is not the same. Well, the way the dustbin is designed for the eufy Omni S2 here, the suction doesn't actually fade. So this goes deep into the carpet and it's able to suck anything from those carpets. So dust mites, dust, pollen, everything is being sucked inside our robot vacuum here. Eventually it does go back to the Omni station and it will empty itself out. So you don't typically have to clean this yourself. This is actually new. I haven't actually used this particular one, but I'll show you the dustbin from another one that I've been using over the past couple of months. So you can see how that looks after it's been emptied there by itself. But basically with this one, you're not gonna have that faded suction power that typically happens with a lot of robot vacuums. The next part will be quite important for those of you that have allergies. Unfortunately, I suffer from this as well. So you may have noticed in the past that after you have a vacuum running through your house, your nose gets stuffy, you start sneezing. Well, that's mostly because most vacuums out there don't have the best filtration. So all that dust goes flying through the air and eventually goes in your nose. Well, the eufy Omni S2 has something very different. So the manufacturer calls this air clean 5-layer filtration. So this filtration system traps 99.9% of household major allergens, including 95% dust mites and pollen. So they never blow back into the air you breathe. So once it's inside this container here, doesn't go back in the air that you actually breathe inside your house. So very, very important. So our dustbin here is made out of a pre-separator cyclone. This basically removes larger debris. Then we have a metal mesh filter. This captures particles larger than 0.5 millimeters. Then we have a 5-clone cyclone. This separates fine dust and helps prevent filter clogging. Then we have the antibacterial dust cup filter, which basically helps trap allergens and keep them from venting back into the room. And eventually we have the antibacterial dust bag that's inside the base station. So basically once the dust from our dustbin ends up in that bag, it stays in that bag. So all that dust is not going to go back into the air that you breathe. So very, very important if you suffer from allergies. So how does that translate into real life vacuuming performance? Well, it doesn't matter what kind of flooring you have. If you have thin carpets, thick carpets, or bare floors, basically anything that you may have on your floors will end up inside this robot vacuum because there is so much suction power available at all times. The same goes with hair. So the way the brush here is designed, these are actually two brushes. You can kind of pull them apart like that. But basically all the hair ends up in the middle here and eventually inside the dustbin. Now it's very difficult to actually film hair going in here because, well, it's underneath the robot vacuum. But even the brush on the other one that I have behind me there that I've been using for a couple of months has absolutely no hair on it. So you're not going to have to clean the hair from this. The way this side brush here is designed, again, it is difficult filming this in the corners, but the way this side brush is designed, when the vacuum gets into a corner, it will basically open this side brush here and it can reach right into the corner there. Because the mop also extends out of the robot's body, it will do the edges of the wall, so you basically have no spots left uncleaned. I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but the mop will also go up as soon as the robot vacuum gets to a carpet. So of course it senses when it gets to a carpet, will lift up the mop here, and it will also increase suction when it gets to carpets. Interacting with the device is done through the eufy app. Of course, the robot vacuum will map out your entire house. So when it first goes on the first cleaning cycle, it will actually map out your entire house. It knows exactly where it has to go, it knows exactly where it's been, and of course it knows how to go back to the Omni station to wash the mop, to empty the dustbin, and eventually recharge when it's done a cleaning cycle. So it is very smart in that way. It will not get lost in any room. And of course, it also has great obstacle avoidance. So if you leave cables on the floor, if you leave toys on the floor, if you leave shoes on the floor, whatever you leave on the floor, this is smart enough and knows how to avoid all that. So it's not going to run over cables, not going to run over toys and get them stuck basically. The Omni station that you're kind of seeing behind me there also does a lot more than just the electrolyzed water and that dust bag that we have in there. So the Omni station will also wash the mop with 60-degree hot water. So even if you have grease, for example, if the vacuum picked up grease or something on the roller mop, it will be washed inside the Omni station. And the Omni station will also dry the mop whenever this is done a cleaning cycle. So you're not going to have any funny smells or anything like that. And everything, once again, is customizable from the app. So you can have that mop drying for like 4.5 hours, depending on your location, because if you live somewhere where it's hot all the time, maybe 3 hours is enough. But basically everything is very customizable from the eufy app. The Omni station also has a little screen at the top there, so you can kind of see what the vacuum does, and we also have a few buttons, so you can start the cleaning cycle by just pressing a little button there if you don't want to open the app. So to quickly conclude this video, if you're looking for a super smart robot vacuum that will also keep your floors spotless, look no further, because the eufy Omni S2 is definitely a robot vacuum that you should consider. As I mentioned earlier, there will be some links and the coupon code available in the video description, so you can check this out. Thanks eufy once again for sponsoring this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you may have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.